How do you define the psychiatric industrial complex and who benefits most from it? And the second question is, how much of what we call mental illness today is actually a rational response to a sick system?
Ooh, good question.
Two great questions. Now, I look at the psychiatric industrial complex from multiple perspectives. There's the therapy industrial complex, and there's psychiatry and corporate medicine. Obviously, the pharmaceutical industry is going to benefit greatly by the pushing of these drugs, right? The more we expand the market to medicalizing and normalizing the range of human responses, then you can create customers for life. And that's exactly what these drugs do, because they do create a cascade of problems, dependency being one of them. So when people try to get off these drugs, they experience this withdrawal effect that gets mislabeled as like a return of your mental illness. So you have just millions of people who can't get off SSRIs or a range of other psychiatric drugs. So this corporate medicine, this medical industrial complex benefits greatly. The insurance companies continue to benefit. I think it's just a large machine and apparatus at this point. And I look at, from any standpoint of a government that wants to have greater control over its people, is you have to be able to create dependence on an authority. And that's exactly what you do when you create in consciousness this idea that there's something broken within you when you experience normal human emotions. And I think emotions are energy. I mean, they're what drive justifiable anger and revolution. I think when you're experiencing sadness, we don't even use the word sadness anymore. So the younger generation just labels it as depressed. So you can't even identify with the word being sad. It's not normalized in our culture anymore. And these are signals, these are primary signals that let us know that there's something in our life that we have to change. And instead, when you begin to internalize that as, oh no, there's something wrong with me, some biological abnormality, well, you just surrender yourself to the medical autonomy or to the medical authority, and you surrender your autonomy, and now you see your life completely different. See, what's held in consciousness really matters to me. So obviously there's a huge industry, the therapy industry in the same respect, is where you take these kind of normal and episodic conditions, people are struggling in their life, and now they just focus on it, and I think
they identify
with these labels. And that's of real concern with me. Abigail Shrier wrote a great book called Bad Therapy. And what it does is it takes advantage of vulnerable people where you don't necessarily see problems in your life as just something to overcome. You actually deep dive and focus on every era of your life that is causing some degree of a problem. And if you know anything about human flourishing, the worst thing you can do is just focus on yourself all the time.
Yeah.
And the therapy industry has a way of doing it. So, that's the complex in itself. And I'm sorry now that when you have these two-part questions, then the second one I did forget.
No, that's okay. He's using that to stuff extra questions into the timeline. That's a trick he came up with about 2 episodes. Todd, we're on to you.
I know you are. And everybody should know who's seeing this shot right now. I am also known as Big Head Todd and the Monster, and you can buy my album anytime.
Okay, but picking up on what you just said, I've heard many people say something like, quote, "I'm bipolar."
Yeah.
I'm like, well, so is the planet. I mean, hey, welcome. That sounds earthy to me. But people identify as their disease.
Right.
I'm ADD or I'm ADHD. I just say, I'm creative. I'm curious. I have a lot of energy to explore the world. You label it however the fuck you want. I'm going to look at the world and have fun with it. I'm sorry about my profanity, but every emotion and every benefit and trait and creativity of a kid is not some disease to be drugged into oblivion.
Yeah, I argue against the idea they're diseases at all. The DSM, the Diagnostic Statistical Manual, which is the psychiatric Bible, has the worst reliability and validity that you can imagine. It doesn't meet even the minimum kind of standards for scientific efficacy at all. And so we have these descriptive labels, which are just which you can just continue to expand when you're talking about mood, for example, or you talk about mania or hypomania. You just continue to expand the definition of what that means to the point where if you live this very restricted life where you hardly feel anything, that apparently is normal for the psychiatric industry. So these aren't diseases at all. There's no medical test. There's no biomedical test at all, although they've argued that there's this chemical imbalance. Obviously, there's no scientific basis for that. There's no testing.
It's just the opinion of the psychiatrist typically.
Which is so dangerous because in my line of work, I've seen people be forced psychiatrically hospitalized. And once you get in there, you're force drugged. And this can be from conditions of just like somebody was in a abusive relationship and they got out of it.
Yeah.
Or now what we're seeing is this rise in what they call spiritual delusions, because you can't talk about God in the psychiatric industrial complex because it's a pure materialist paradigm. So if you say I found Jesus or I found God or, I feel I'm praying over somebody or feel happy, they start automatically kind of evaluating the presence of a delusion. There's a huge uptick in these cases as well.